Welcome to Deliberate. This is Joshua Jeremiah, your host. It's a great honor and a great privilege sharing God's word with you. We don't take it for granted. We give God all the praise and glory for the opportunity to do this. And we thank God for you for taking the time to watch and to share with as many as you know. Please continue to do that. We're trusting God that this will get to every room, bless, impact the lives of many to the glory of God in Jesus' mighty name. Not holding and pressing on regardless. I repeat that again. Not holding and pressing on regardless. Not holding and pressing on until God comes through for you can cost you from receiving from God. What am I trying to say? People quit and give up so easily. So not holding on and pressing on until God comes through for you can cost you from receiving from God. Example is Daniel. Daniel set himself to seek God's face, and it took him 3 weeks. I'd like you to take note of that. He set himself to seek, you find that in Daniel chapter 10. We're going to read it. To seek God's face. And he ended up taking him 3 weeks. He did not say, I'm going to seek God's face for 3 weeks. That's what we do. So I'm seeking God's face for 3 days. And God must speak to me in 3 days. Who are you to command God? You set your heart before God until God speaks to you concerning the matter. That's what you do. You don't give God ultimatums. You don't. So Daniel set himself to see God's face, and it took him 3 weeks. He did not set a time to see God's face. He didn't. Like I said, this is one of the things that has been one of our greatest undoing. Thinking we can give God ultimatums. God, if you don't do it for me now, some even go as far as threatening God. I will backslide. If you backslide, who goes to hell? He said, I won't serve God again. Who loses? Daniel chapter 10, verse 1 to 14. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a message was revealed to Daniel, whose name was called Belshazzar. The message was true, but the appointed time was long. And he understood the message and had understanding of the vision. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. What that meant was that he was seeking God's face. He kept away from food. I ate no pleasant food. No meat, no wine came into my mouth, nor did I anoint myself at all, till 3 full weeks were fulfilled. I'd like you to take note. Response from heaven did not get to Daniel. Within the 3 weeks, he sought his face, though it had been dispatched. And so if you set yourself to seek God's face, I'm going to seek God's face for 1 week, and the 1 week, expires. Set your heart and continue to seek God until God speaks to you. And so the response didn't get to Daniel within those 3 weeks that he sought his face. Though the response had already been dispatched. It came after the 21 days were completed. Not that God didn't hear him. God heard him the first day, and God sent a response. That's why you must learn to persevere. That's why we must never be people who quit and give up. So let's read on. Now, verse 4. On the 24th day of the first month, 3 days after he had completed the prayer and fasting, was when the response to his prayer that God heard the first day and dispatched got to him. On the 24th day of the first month, as I was by the side of the great river, that is the Tigris, I lifted my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose waist was girded with gold of Upas. His body was like beryl, his face like the appearance of lightning, his eyes like touches of fire, his arms and feet like burnished bronze in color, and the sound of his words like the voice of a multitude. And I, Daniel, alone saw the vision. For the men who were with me did not see the vision, but a great terror fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. Therefore, I was left alone when I saw this great vision, and no strength remained in me, for my vigor was turned to frailty in me, and I retained no strength. Yet I heard the sound of his words, and while I heard the sound of his words, I was in a deep sleep on my face, with my face to the ground. Suddenly, a hand touched me, which made me tremble on my knees and on the palm of my hands. And he said to me, O Daniel, greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak to you, and stand upright. For I have now been sent to you. While he was speaking these words to me, I stood trembling. Then he said to me, do not fear, Daniel, for from the first day you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your word was heard. I'd like you to take note. The angel was telling him, the first day, how many days did Daniel set apart to see God? 3 full weeks, 21 days. When did this angel come? On the 24th day, 3 days after he had finished his waiting on God. But his heart was still looking up to God. And the angel was telling him, from the first day you set your heart to understand, to humble yourself before God, your words were heard, and I've come because of your words. The first day God heard you, God sent me. But something happened. But, verse 13, the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. My God. So for those 21 days, there was battle in the spirit that was going on that Daniel was not aware of. The prince of the kingdom of Persia was Satan. Satan was fighting Gabriel. And Gabriel said, I fought and fought until Michael came and assisted me. Let's read on. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. And behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me. For I'd been left alone there with the kings of Persia. Michael came and assisted him. So Gabriel was telling him, when Michael came and assisted me, that's when I got a breakthrough. And that's why I'm here. I'm delivering the message. But God heard you the first day. The prince of Persia withstood Gabriel for 21 days. So for those 21 days, it looked as if God did not hear his prayers. Can you imagine? But God heard him the first day, dispatched response to him. It looked as if God didn't hear his prayers, but it's not true, because God heard the first day and dispatched response immediately. The lesson to learn here is never give up and quit. Never. Learn to persevere in all that you do with God and in life in general. Learn to persevere. Never give up. Don't quit. Quitters never win. And winners never quit. Persevere. Even when you think you don't have any more strength, oh, God will strengthen you. He will make his strength perfect in your weakness. Verse 14. He said, now I've come to make you understand what will happen to your people in the latter days, for the vision refers to many days yet to come. Can you see? His heart was still open to receive from God. God heard him the very first day he set his face to seek God. Dispatched response immediately. But there was war in the spirit. And then when Gabriel broke through and came, he brought it to him. The lesson is, don't give up so easily. Learn to persevere regardless. Learn to persevere. And that's what I'm teaching. That's what I'm sharing. Continue to hold on and press on regardless. Until what you're trusting God for comes true. Until you see the results of everything. Hear me well. We give up so easily. We quit too soon. We quit and give up so easily at the hottest or the most difficult point. And usually at those times, it's just when your breakthrough is about to happen. The darkest point of the night is also the beginning of the breaking of a new day, a new dawn. The darkest point of the night is when also a new day begins. I'd like you to take note. Quitting and giving up. Not holding and pressing on regardless until what God has promised comes to pass. will hinder you from receiving from God. Those who quit and give up so easily, it would shortchange you. It will hinder you from receiving from God. God bless and keep you till we meet again in Jesus' mighty name.